Hello all, welcome to Cruising with Eric and Cheryl. Cheryl, this is Eric.
Yes, I am. Tonight we're going to be talking to you today, whenever you're watching this, whatever time of the day. Today's video is all about seasonal secrets, when to embark on your dream cruise. Basically, what's the best time of year to do a Caribbean cruise versus a Baltic cruise versus a Hawaiian cruise, because different months of the year provide better temperatures, weather.
I'm all about the temps.
Yes, you are. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start out with probably, arguably the most favorite cruise destination, at least for those of us in the U.S., the Caribbean. Overall, best times to cruise the Caribbean is between like mid-November and May, for a couple of reasons. One, hurricane season is over by mid-November, and at least in the northern part of the U.S. and up into Canada, that's when it's pretty darn cold. So escaping the sub-zero temperatures, headed down to the Caribbean with its 70, 80 degree days and bright sunshine and beautiful clear beaches is a really good reason to go.
It is.
All right, what's up? What do you think?
Well, I'm thinking the cruise that we went on at the end of May a couple of years ago.
That's the perfect time?
No.
Okay, we haven't gotten to the USA and New England and Canada yet. We're still talking about Caribbean, dear.
I would still go back during the summer.
Anywho. So May.
The month of May.
The month of May, not Mother May I, but the month of May is arguably one of the, in my opinion, at least one of the best times to do a Caribbean cruise, because the most popular, the downside to going between, mid-November and March, April time frame is that's also the most popular time, and therefore the most expensive. If you go in May, people have already, the spring has sprung throughout the northern states, so less people are doing cruises at that time. You're gonna have fewer crowds, cheaper rates. A lot of people are dealing with, Mother's Day and graduation and all that stuff. So arguably May's a good month to go.
May we continue?
Yes, we may.
You can explore less visited ports like Bonaire and Dominica.
We had a blast in Bonaire.
We did.
Yeah, we did. An ABC tour, an ABC cruise, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. And while Aruba was arguably our favorite stop of the three, my wife has got an amazing nose for out of the way kind of places. So we ended up finding the Bonaire brewery, because I'm a big craft beer guy, and my wife,
drink beer at all.
Right, but my wife enjoys hanging out in breweries, meeting people, talking,
and seeing dogs.
Seeing dogs. So she saw a sign over this little one-story brick-ish kind of building that said brewery. And so we stopped in, and we ended up also almost missing ship's movement because we were having so much fun hanging out with the head brewer and his wife, who owned the place.
Yes.
And their 8-month-old baby boy, year-old baby boy.
I think so.
He was a baby. He was a baby. Yeah. He wasn't walking yet.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, some of those less visited ports definitely give you a different experience.
Well, they give you an idea if this is another place that you would want to come visit for a week.
A week, or right. Yeah.
We discovered that in Aruba we would definitely go back for a week because there's plenty of stuff to do. Yeah. So many islands accept U.S. currency, but always check beforehand. If you are using a credit card, make sure that you reach out. If it's a debit card or whatever the case may be, just reach out to the credit card agency or the credit card companies to make sure that there are no international processing fees.
And let them know you're traveling so they don't think it's fraud.
Well, especially if you're using a debit card from your bank. because usually they will not allow a purchase to go through.
Right.
The fees for ATMs are crazy in foreign countries. So, and they will shut your card down, and then if that's the only thing that you have,
you're SOL.
Pretty much.
Important tip: sunscreen,
Yes.
sunscreen, and more sunscreen.
We've said it before.
Yes, and
Not
we'll say
just
it again.
sunscreen, but because I am so fair, although I love being in the sun, I burn very quickly. But because of the Caribbean, however you want to say it,
you're closer
the sun is
to
stronger.
Right, you're closer to the equator, so the
more
sun is stronger.
to get sunburn.
Yeah.
So just be careful. Make sure they have it. You not necessarily need on the islands the reef one.
Right.
You
The
need
reef
regular
safe.
unless you're going snorkeling or scuba diving or anything else like that. What you also might want to do is familiarize yourself with local customs and dress codes.
That can be very important.
Yes.
An example, Jamaica, and I know a couple of other Caribbean countries do not allow camouflage clothing.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. Because of the military-ish look of them, they don't allow them. So if you try and get off your ship and you're wearing camouflage pants or a shirt,
fatigues.
if you're lucky, the cruise staff will stop you before you exit the ship and advise you that you need to go change. If you're unlucky, I actually heard a story of a cruiser who ended up spending his entire port day in the police station trying to explain, that he wasn't a terrorist, that he wasn't in a military organization. He was just a cruiser trying to have fun and didn't know. So,
make sure you have your ID
yes.
or your what's it? Pass card.
Well, you need your C-Pass card, and I would advise
Passport.
a passport with you whenever you get off that ship.
Since COVID days, you might also have to have your vaccination card if you are vaccinated. Some countries will allow you to get off the ship with just your birth certificate. But again, check with your travel agent. It's very rare, but just happened.
All right, next
you want to stay hydrated and get some souvenirs. Just don't bow down to pushy people.
Next up on our seasonal cruise, the Mediterranean. Best time for the Med is usually between May to June, and then September to October, only because, like the Northeast in the U.S., come July and August, it is hot and muggy and super busy. Like very packed. So,
like my suitcases.
So try to avoid going on a med cruise during June, July and August if you can. Okay. The Eastern Med, like Greece and Turkey, they tend to be a little bit warmer, so you might want to even go May and like September, October. Late spring, early fall, that kind of thing. That's really the ideal temps. It's still nice and warm, but you're not going to be sweating buckets just standing there.
Yes.
No.
Let's see. We haven't been to the Mediterranean yet.
Not yet. We will though.
Let's see. Tipping?
Yeah, maybe we can talk about tipping.
And we're not talking cow tipping, people. Just don't touch animals.
Gratuities. How about that? Is gratuities a better word?
Yes.
So gratuity customs vary by country, and in a lot of European countries, tipping them can be an insult. So do a little research. A lot of these tips, by the way, if you have questions about them, talk to your travel agent. That's one of the things that good travel agents will have for you. They'll have a lot of this information. So if you're going to Turkey, you don't want to try and offer somebody a tip because they'll take it as an insult. Things like that.
Wear comfortable clothing.
Yes.
And sneakers.
Yes. Particularly, on pretty much any cruise, but definitely places like, when you're doing med cruises, you're in Europe, and the history and the culture of Europe is, 10 times older than anything in the U.S., arguably. So,
but if you think back to New York City and Philly and Boston, anyway, the cobblestone streets.
So if I could finish my thought, I was going to say, because of all the history and all the culture, you're going to be doing a lot of walking.
Oh.
And yes, you're going to be doing walking on cobblestone streets too.
Yes.
That's correct, yes.
That's my bad. I do that all the time, people. I always cut them off. Beware of pickpocketers.
Yeah, she does.
I do.
And then paybacks are fun.
Make sure that you have everything close to you, and don't put anything in your back pocket. If you, a man or a woman, and you carry your wallet, put a rubber band on it. If you have to put it in your back pocket, so this way here, if somebody goes to pickpocket, you can actually feel the tug on your pants. Thank you for city living. Let's see what else.
Learn a couple of phrases.
Yes.
In the local language.
Yes. Where is the bathroom?
Hello. Thank you. Goodbye. Just a couple of phrases.
It goes a long way.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Think about, those of you that are from, the South or the Midwest, you come up here to the Northeast, to New Jersey or New York, and please and thank you basically don't exist up here. So
they do in a lot of places.
Well, but, that's the perception of Neokas, that they're rude at. Idiots,
They're not.
They're not. They're really not. That's the perception,
but people tend to read your body language. So if they feel that you're going to be, anywho.
All right, on to our next stop. Yes, Alaska.
Best time to go is May to September, people.
And that again is it's subjective, because May and September are going to be beautiful. They're going to be less populated, but they're going to be cold. June, July, those are going to be the best temps. Those are going to be the longest days, but also the most popular times to cruise in Alaska. So
because the Alaskan window is very small.
Correct. Because no cruise ship goes up into Alaska in January. And even if you did, you wouldn't be able to get out onto the deck because it'd be like -12 or something.
No, thank you.
The upside to doing the May and early June is you could see more, you could still see a lot of snow on the mountain peaks. If that's, something that takes your breath away.
Wildlife viewing.
When's the best time for that?
When you're awake.
That would be true. That would be true, yeah.
Usually in the morning, because they're more active.
Well, what time of year, though?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, no.
May,
well, and why are animals in a zoo more active in the morning? Because it's not hot as, Hades by that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, when you pack for Alaska, this arguably would be the one cruise destination that I would not subject my wife to packing limitations, because Alaskan weather can be pretty unpredictable, and you could literally be walking on the deck at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in shorts and a t-shirt, and you go inside and lose $100 at the slot machine, and you go back out on the deck an hour later and it's 30 degrees. So pack layers, pack extra clothing.
What?
Yes, yeah. That arguably the only time you'll ever hear me say that.
Won't be the only time I do it, though.
No, you do it every cruise.
Truth.
Binoculars, pretty much mandatory for an Alaskan cruise. You're going to be able, with them, you're going to be able to see a lot more wildlife. You're going to be able to get some amazing views of the glaciers you're going to be cruising by. Excuse me. What else about Alaska? Anything else you can think of?
Salmon seems to be a big thing.
When do the salmon run?
Well, they fish. They swim. Anyway.
Oh, goodness.
From July to September is the best time.
Yeah. Oh.
And you also want to keep an eye out for the Northern Lights. I can't pronounce the technical term.
Yeah. Northern Lights is good. Yeah.
Borealis.
Aurora Borealis. Right.
Woo!
Arguably, late season cruises are going to be better for that. So your late August into September, you're more likely to get a good view of the Northern Lights. The excursions can be expensive.
And they sell out quickly.
Yes, they do. Try and book them as early as you can. The smaller the cruise ship, the better, arguably the better, viewing you're going to get, because the smaller ships can go through waterways that are more narrow that the larger ships can't get to. So something to think about, when you're booking that. Personally, when I'm going to book us on an Alaskan cruise, I will not get any other kind of room except for a balcony, because a fair amount of what you're going to be doing on that cruise is cruising by these humongous glaciers. And in my mind, I don't want to have to crowd a railing, with 3,000 of my closest friends, if I can sit in my private balcony with my honey and see everything. Well, I'll let you come on that.
Thank you, appreciate that.
I'll leave her home.
Okay. That's Chloe, the dog.
Yes. Chloe doesn't do well on cruises, no. But so yeah, you think about spending the extra money for that balcony, because having a private viewing of the Hubbard Glacier or whatever else you're seeing up there, in my opinion, is worth it. All right, next destination.
The Baltic in Northern Europe. The best time to go is May to September.
You kind of sensing a theme here?
Yeah. Just go on a cruise anytime you get, whatever.
No, the more north you go, the more limited to summer cruises you are.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
But you
May to September, yeah. Anyway, okay.
But you want to prepare for long days in the summer. Sunsets are very late. Yeah. Considered guided tours.
Toys too.
Yeah. Ooh. Anyway, for rich historical cities like St. Petersburg, bring a light raincoat. Weather can be unpredictable, as with any area. And you want to explore, excuse the tail, local markets.
Ilya, you're not in this video.
For authentic souvenirs. And just remember, the currency varies from country to country. So prepare a small amount for each port. You want to dress conservatively when visiting churches or cathedrals.
In a lot of the European churches, they will not allow you to enter their cathedral or their mosque or their temple if they don't feel you're dressed appropriately.
Which is understandable.
Yes.
Be respectful.
Right. If you're going, well, obviously this is not currently a real good time to visit the Ukraine or Russia. But when this mess is over with, make sure you do your research, or have your travel agent do research as far as visa requirements, not just for Ukraine and Russia, but Russia definitely requires a visa. So certain cities will, the itinerary will allow for overnight stays, so that you can attend the theater or a ballet performance in the evening. Try to book those tickets for that, those excursions, for lack of a better word, as early as possible, because obviously limited seating. On to the next.
All right. River cruises.
No, we're not talking about river cruises. We're talking about Asian cruises, Asia and Southeast Asia.
Okay, so the best time would be November to March.
Why would that be, do you think?
The weather.
Why? Do you think maybe they're south of us, so they're warm when we're cold?
I'm geographically challenged sometimes.
So yeah, their weather's basically opposite the northeast part of the U.S. So when it's kind of like the Caribbean, when it's, well, I don't know, because the Caribbean's pretty much always warm. But anyway, make sure you familiarize yourself with local customs. They again, just like the churches in Europe. You don't want to, get there and, I don't know, how do you say it? Break a local custom or insult a local person just because you don't know what the customs are. Couple of minutes of research, quick phone call to your travel agent.
Or
you
send
can
a
find
question
out.
on our page.
Yes.
Street foods.
Yes. Oh, must try. Yeah. And Cheryl has an issue with street food. But street food,
just be careful. I'm just gonna say, if it doesn't look like chicken, it ain't chicken, people. Okay, just saying.
All right, that's making a very broad statement. You
like
might
chicken.
just be chicken.
I like chicken. But anyway,
guided tours again here in Southeast Asia, in Asia generally. Really good idea because the tour guides in general are very knowledgeable, and they will give you context and additional information that you're not going to get just by, walking around or reading a pamphlet. Again, learn some local phrases: hello, thank you, goodbye, things like that, just to smooth things over. Make the locals not think that you're the typical arrogant American who only speaks English and refuses to
at least
converse.
Try.
Right. Yeah.
Local festivities.
Festivals, holidays. Yeah.
They can be interesting because not everybody in the world celebrates Christmas the same way that Americans do. But just give it a try. Do a little research before you go on any of these trips, and you'll, expect something different. Yeah.
All right, real quick before we move on to the next one.
Oh, go ahead.
If you're enjoying this or any of our videos, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Give us a big old thumbs up, and you'll get to hear our melodious voices many times in the future. Next up, Australia and New Zealand cruises.
Dang, right? Koalas, yeah.
December to March. Again, opposite us. So they're in the southern hemisphere. Having been in Australia, remember my comment earlier about sunscreen, and more sunscreen when you're in the Caribbean. People that were born and raised in the Caribbean get sunburned in Australia. Okay, you need even more sunscreen. It's absolutely insane. I was there in the Navy back in the 90s, and one of my shipmates went to the beach, took his shirt off, was on the beach for an hour, and had second-degree sunburn after an hour. And that's not an exaggeration, it's not a joke. And I hate to be, a Debbie Downer, but you don't want to spend, 3 days or 4 days of your cruise, locked in your room because, you've got blisters from sunburn and you're in agony. So, all right, on to more fun stuff.
Explore wildlife. Yeah.
Wildlife parks,
see kangaroos,
zoos,
koalas, and more. What's
pavlova is basically it's a meat pie. It's a local delicacy.
So it's almost like an empanada. Anyway.
But different.
The beaches in Australia are world famous.
Yes.
Always swim between the flags. Consider a wine tour and not wine while you're on the tour, especially in regions like Marlborough.
In New Zealand, yep.
Snorkeling or diving the Great Barrier Reef is a must.
Have to, yep. Aboriginal cultural tours, amazing insights and information into Australia's indigenous population and their history. For those of you Lord of the Rings fans out there, a visit to the Hobbiton movie set in New Zealand is absolutely essential. From what I understand, a friend of mine visited, and she said she felt like she was part of the movie. Any last comments or concerns? We've got a couple more destinations or areas of the world that you can cruise to, but we've already gone on for long enough in this video, so we will we'll take that back up in a part 2 sometime in the not so distant future.
Okay. Have a great night, and thank you for joining us. Don't forget to, if you like the video, to subscribe. What a point.
Yeah, point straight down, right there. Yeah. See ya.